WWE Elimination Chamber gets its swerve on. We now know what's in the box and who's under the mask. What does this all mean for WrestleMania 42? This is Kent, and this is Fanatically Speaking. Let's go. All right, so this episode we are recapping the WWE Elimination Chamber over the weekend. And we're going to start with the women's chamber match. Going to go over all the matches, and then I'll get into all the extra stuff later. But first, the women's chamber started off the night. You had Rhea Ripley, Tiffany Stratton, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Kiana James, Raquel Rodriguez. Obviously, I did my preview episode and spoke about I was picking Tiffany Stratton. At that time, it was the best choice out of who was in the chamber. We had Rhea Ripley. She was involved in, tag team championship matches as she was tag team champions with Io Sky. They ultimately had a match on SmackDown before Chamber, lost those titles to Lash Legend and Nia Jax. So that just changed everything. And then never believed Alexa Bliss could win, also in a tag team. Asuka never believed she could win, also in a tag team. Kiana James is the new up-and-comer, so never really thought she could win. And then Raquel Rodriguez, I gave a shot. So as the chamber, again, getting into the match, what I took from it was, there were some good spots. You get, crashing through you always get a crash through the pod. You always get some kind of, slam on the chain, on the outside of the ring, on that surface. A lot of good back and forth there. Not a whole lot to the match. I mean, it was a normal, women's chamber match. There were no run-ins. There were no surprises, at least like that, right? But there was a swerve, as I said in the beginning. They got their swerve on. Swerves all over the place during this event. So during the match, what I took from it was Kiana James looked good again, just like she did in the Royal Rumble. Just like she's done every time she's on TV or in any match. Again, why she's Julia's sidekick, I don't know, but I do believe WWE sees that, which is why she was in the chamber and not Julia. Again, she's also not the U.S. champion, but as I keep saying, I like her. I think she's doing way better than Julia. She has to speak for Julia, which is what it is, but again, she looks good every time she's in these big spots. So there's only a matter of time before she gets pushed a little more and a little more and a little more where she's involved in some sort of title match, whether that be U.S., whether that be Intercontinental, whether that be one of the world titles, who knows. But again, that's what I took from it. Like, it was Kiana James. I mean, she started with Tiffany Stratton, and I thought that was a great way to start the match. You got two of the most athletic women in the business and in this match. So to start off with them two, I thought was great. Made me think, though, again, is Tiffy going to go the whole distance and win this match? So it put that doubt in my mind. Another big spot in the match, Raquel Rodriguez ultimately, slamming, Asuka on Kiana James and pinning them both. That was impressive. That was a big spot for her. Again, she came out still looking strong. Spoiler alert, she didn't win either. But she came out of this match looking strong. She had a good showing for, Judgment Day. And just like Kiana James, she's ahead of Kiana James. But, again, I could see Raquel Rodriguez getting gold this year. Like, not even like, in the distant future. It's like, no, like this year. And I think it's all set up for that. We can get into Mania later, but again, like I've talked about, I think it's ultimately the Judgment Day going through their breakup, and you get to live in Raquel, I think, at some point. Maybe not. Maybe she just keeps being, big mommy cool and being the sidekick. But again, she's had strong showings, right? Whether she's been in the ring with Rhea Ripley, once again with Rhea, she showed she can manhandle her. And again, pinning two women at the same time, that's a huge spot. So again, Kiana James shines again. Raquel, solid. coming out looking strong. Both of them, even in the loss. Again, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, they were just in the match. They were just in the match to be there. Couple good things here and there. Asuka, the mist in the eyes of Bliss, which got her eliminated. So that was a good spot as well. Asuka doing her thing as a heel. Then we get into, the final three, which was Raquel, Rhea, Tiffy. Ultimately, big spot. Rhea, flipping off the pod to take out Raquel, leaving Tiffy on the top rope. Then Tiffy with the, moonsault to beat Raquel, eliminate her. And you get down to Tiffy and Rhea, and you're thinking, okay, like either one could win. But at this point, this is when I started thinking about it more and more. It's like, oh, okay, now I see why Rhea Ripley and Io Sky lost the titles on SmackDown, because, yeah, we could get Tiffy and Jade again, the rematch from when Jade beat her for the title, or again, it's WrestleMania, and Tiffy is a star. She's huge, she's popular, but she is not Rhea Ripley. Rhea Ripley's the top female, the top, woman wrestler. And it was only a matter of time before she got to another title match. She's been stuck in this tag team, and that's the swerve, right? Triple H, they give us the swerve at the last possible moment before Mania. Maybe not the last possible moment, but the last PLE before the Mania, right? And he pulled the trigger, got those titles off of her, and ultimately Rhea beats Tiffy, which no shame in Tiffy losing. Rhea is the bigger star. She is the better wrestler. So she, like I said, she wins, and now you get Rhea Ripley, Jade Cargill, WrestleMania. Been hearing that the original plan, of course, which made sense, would be Bianca Belair and Jade at Mania. Belair's not cleared yet, apparently. So, how do you make WrestleMania huge? How do you make it big with title matches especially? Rhea Jade is that big match Mania feel. Jade being the heel now champion, tries to be dominant, is a specimen as a physical being. Rhea the same. And now you get that huge star, huge heel champion clashing WrestleMania, WWE Women's title. I've got no problem with it. Makes all the sense in the world. Glad they did that swerve. And then you ask the question, okay, then Tiffy loses. What's next for Tiffy? Now, again, I don't know the timetable, obviously, and I haven't read anything about Chelsea Green. What's her, from the broken ankle? Now, Mania is 7 weeks away. Depends on what type of break. Depends on, all those things. She's in a boot. She's still on TV. She's still getting involved. And recently, she's been really getting involved with Tiffany Stratton. So it leads me to believe that if Tiffy's going to be at Mania, which she should be, she can't just be in some regular match. Now, again, there's other way. If it's Chelsea Green, that's the first thought that comes to my mind, is Chelsea Green. And it makes all the sense in the world. They've kind of been going at it recently, even though Chelsea's in a wheelchair and a boot. But it would make all the sense in the world. It would elevate Chelsea even more. As I say, she's a star as well, a rising star. Tiffy, I guess, could go for, the United States Championship. Maybe that's the way they go with Tiffy. Obviously she had the start off with Kiana James, but maybe it's Tiffy and Julia. But again, do I care about Julia? No. Does anybody care about Julia? And would we really care about her having a match at WrestleMania? I know I wouldn't. So maybe things change before then. Maybe they get a SmackDown match. Maybe we get a better matchup. Because, again, Chelsea Green was a great U.S. champion, and they didn't give her that match last year. So not sure why they would give that to Julia. Obviously, she's a great athlete, all those things. I say it every time. That would be a great match, her and Tiffy putting on a show, I guess. But if Chelsea Green can be healthy, give me Chelsea Green versus Tiffany Stratton. And whatever else is involved in that match. If they can get a title involved, great. If not, great. Either way, that's the question that came out of the Women's Chamber. Next match was AJ Lee against Becky Lynch for the Women's Intercontinental Championship. Now, this was big for many reasons. AJ's been back since about September. She was at WrestlePalooza with a mixed tag with her husband CM Punk against Becky and Seth Rollins. She was also involved in the Women's War Games match in November at Survivor Series, but we have not seen her wrestle a singles match since she came back in 11 years. So to the match, Becky's the champ. AJ, like I talked about before in the previous episode with the preview, I could see either one winning and then the rematch at WrestleMania. I didn't know which way they would go. You try to pick these matches and you're like, okay, well, they can't have all the baby faces win. They got to have a heel win. They got to have this. Sometimes it's all baby. Maybe it's just straight baby face. Send everybody home happy on every match. So 11 years, roughly, right? 2015-ish. So we do the easy math and do years, not actually months and things like that. So basically 11 years. Decent match for, Becky's a pro. AJ, I'm sure, has been working hard since she just signed back. So even though she's not on TV wrestling, even if she's not wrestling single matches on TV, she's been working to get to this point to have that first singles match. And again, decent match, same old stuff, normal things. Obviously at one point in the match, Becky removes the turnbuckle to try to expose it, to use it for her advantage. It gets stopped a couple of times. We get to the, finish, which I thought the finish was a really good finish to, again, a great, I'm not going to say a great match. It was a decent match. Good to see. It's just good to see AJ Lee back in the WWE and in a meaningful role in a match. It's just great. Nostalgia everywhere. Glad to see her back. But yeah, so in the match, great. Good finish. You get, the referee, you think she's knocked out, then she's not, and then she's really knocked out. She gets knocked for a loop. Becky, again, they go on. She taps out. Ref doesn't see it because she's knocked out. So I was like, okay, maybe AJ's going to lose this. This is how, this is how we spin it. That Becky tapped, but they didn't see it, and then she cheats or something to win. Something like that. But we get AJ. Ultimately, referee wakes up. Becky tries to use the exposed turnbuckle, is stopped. They keep on going back and forth. And ultimately, Becky misses trying to, splash or whatever on AJ, hits her face on the turnbuckle, and then she gets tapped out by AJ Lee, and AJ Lee wins the Intercontinental Championship, which again will lead to WrestleMania rematch. It's easy stuff there. It's Becky's going to say again she got cheated again by the referee, exposed turnbuckle, whatever excuse she wants to use. Like I said, either way, I'm fine with it. This is great. AJ wins. And it really, like I said, if you look forward to WrestleMania, it's not necessarily a given that Becky gets it back. AJ could easily beat her again and Becky move on to something else or whatever. It's also interesting to think about AJ Lee, and I know she's back and she hasn't been full-time, but maybe now she is. I mean, Punk's full-time. Why couldn't she be full-time? As long as she's got the belt, she'll be full-time. So again, just briefly looking forward to WrestleMania 42, and I'm just looking and saying it could go either way as well. I'm not sitting here saying that it's going to be, again, a given that Becky gets the belt back, but I definitely think a rematch at Mania will take place. All right, so on to the next match, and that is the World Heavyweight Championship that CM Punk has, and he was defended against Finn Balor, a rematch from the match they had in Belfast. Things that stood out in this match were, one, they kept talking about Finn Balor trying to turn the title match at Mania upside down, because we already have seen Punk and Reigns in the ring face to face. Reigns picked Punk. Could Finn Balor mess that up? Again, I think any other PLE, we would say, oh yeah, Finn Balor, Roman Reigns, whatever. Sure. Mania, no. Again, want the biggest names wrestling at WrestleMania for the title. It's the biggest show. So, no knock on Finn Balor, but he's not CM Punk. He's not Roman Reigns. He's up there. He's good. He's solid. But we need like a character change or something. Anyways, to the match. Things that stood out. Punk, they gave him the, obviously in Chicago there, they gave him the Michael Jordan era Bulls entrance. When they call out the, starting lineup, they gave Punk the whole starting lineup entrance before his music hit. As you notice, he goes through the curtain with his music, Cult of Personality. He's got his late dog Larry on the back of his jacket. That was noticeable. Larry forever. And the other thing, once he gets in the ring, he's got his gear. He's got Chicago Blackhawks gear on. So CM Punk went all Chicago out for his home crowd. They talked about maybe could be his last time wrestling in Chicago at an event. I'm like, yeah, maybe. I mean, he's got some years left, so they always go to Chicago. But anyways, another good match. Again, expected nothing less between Punk and Balor. They did the spot in which I hate, but they at least did it in a different way that I didn't hate it, which is going through the barricade. So, getting, missile kicked or whatever, Balor to Punk through the barricade was definitely different. It's not a spear, but, it's just one of those spots that I keep talking about that I hate seeing because they just use it every single match. It's almost like, the multiple finishes and matches. And I'm okay with people going through tables every match, the announce tables. That's just a given in wrestling. But the barricade spot, again, I'm fine with it if they do different things. So I was fine with it here. Not that anybody cares. You notice Punk, like between his eyes was kind of bloody or scratched. I don't know what happened. And then I think I saw him when he got kicked in his mouth. And so he definitely had a bloody mouth for most of this match. There's a lot of back and forth. And I got to give Finn Balor, and I got to give him credit. There was moments where I thought he could win. And then I was like, what are they going to do? Like, how does this happen? Because they've been building up, Punk, like, why are you still wrestling? Aren't you going to wait till Mania for Reigns? You could lose the title, but he's a fighting champion and all these things. So Finn had me thinking that he could win. So I will give him that, or both of them, everyone involved. He definitely thought that could happen. It obviously did not. Punk pulls it out, both just give out, and he was just able to, get him up there for the go to sleep. Got the win. And, after the match then, Balor, even though he's done this before in Belfast, and then we thought he was going to change, and then he went back and attacked Punk and become crazy again, and it was still Judgment Day. So, he told Judgment Day not to come out. They did not. So that was another thing. My bad. I forgot about. They did not come out. So he did it on his own. He lost. Then he gives Punk props, a sign of respect, and I believe that will obviously be talked about on Monday Night Raw with the Judgment Day, as they probably will say, "Hey, you're going soft," or "Why did you do that again?" Whatever. I think that will, it just seems like he will turn face soon. Probably before Mania, we talk about him and Dom for the IC title. Judgment Day break up. That has got to be the match, right? That's got to be the way this is going to go. Give us the old Finn Balor, even the Demon. Like, give us all that. No more Judgment Day Finn Balor. Give us one more run, however long he's got left, but give us at least another run of the old Finn Balor. But I believe that will happen. As I mentioned, he was going to be one of those names that we're going to, turn face soon. All right, so the last match that we will go over here, that I'll go over, is, of course, the last match of the evening, which was the men's Elimination Chamber match. Now, a lot changed since my preview episode, which was changing my picks because you're going through it and you're like, okay, this guy could win, this guy couldn't, this guy, right? We didn't think Javon Evans. We didn't think Trick Williams. Originally, it was Jey Uso because of Bronson Reed tearing his, was it bicep? Now, when I did my recording, we didn't know who it was going to be, but I thought it would be Bronson Reed, and I also thought the Masked Man would cost him there or at the Elimination Chamber. So we get, they had to do, again, Swerve. So Swerve on Monday Night Raw, where Jay wins due to the injury, basically. Well, then we get to SmackDown, and all the guys are, all the participants were supposed to be there and meet and, hash it out one more time. And we get immediately Jey Uso's taken out. He has to go to the hospital. So Aldis makes a match, Logan Paul against Jacob Fatu, which is kind of a weird one, by the way, because, well, Jacob Fatu lost his qualifier, but yet he was put in the match. Obviously, Paul Heyman worked his magic to get Logan Paul in. So it's Logan Paul Fatu, and we get that angle taken out. Logan Paul, Jacob Fatu. Logan Paul beats Fatu on SmackDown thanks to Drew McIntyre, again, getting involved, costing people matches that he don't want to wrestle, and he cost, Fatu, hit him with the belt. That led to the win for Logan Paul. So, to this match at the Elimination Chamber, first thing that stood out, the crowd loved Trick Williams. And I see why I'm reading that they want to turn him face soon. And I didn't have him on my list, right? I think he's a good heel. I think he's doing a good job. Again, young up-and-comer. But the crowd, everywhere he's been, whether it's Saudi Arabia, whether it's in Chicago, it's every time the crowd is chanting, whoop that Trick. So he's over. Like, they're in him. They're into him. Love the pop. So you notice that every single time. And again, he is just starting to get more confident and more confident every time he's in the ring speaking, every time he's in the ring wrestling. So again, he is an up-and-comer, and he's doing big things, great things since he got the call up. So add him in that list with, Obafemi doing big things. Something I just noticed again, and I get it. Like, no one wants to hear this in wrestling. Things like Jericho said this one time. Like, he hated to hear people say a botch and things like a botch, when they mess up. And I'm not knocking it. Like, I'm not a wrestler. I couldn't do it. But, well, maybe one day. Well, maybe earlier in my life I could have. But either way, LA Knight. We talk about how they're are they holding them down, or is it just something about them that they just won't, push him straight to the top or to a bigger role? Again, the crowd loves him, and he is a really good wrestler. I wonder about certain people though using these moves, and it happens. You mess up, but I ain't gonna lie to you, man. I ain't gonna lie. LA Knight botches. He botches a lot. Like, trying to do his hopping off, the top rope to the second rope, or the second rope to the top rope to do an elbow to Randy Orton. He slipped. He missed. He kept it going. Not the end of the world. They make up for it in announcing, and you just roll on. But I do notice that not just, you can talk about the WWE Unreal where, he messed up the finish, but botching moves, it happens. And I expect it sometimes. I'm like, man, all the men and the women, when they're doing these moves where they got to hop and hit the ropes just right to bounce off. I mean, it happens. And I'm not really knocking him. I'm just saying maybe that's why they don't give him the keys, to the city, to the car, to get that top title. You got to perform, man. You got to perform every night. And I know, like recently we saw AJ Styles, but I'm like, man, I ain't never seen AJ Styles slip off a rope, but it happens. I just feel like I see it a lot with LA Knight. Let's see, another fake masked man. We had one on SmackDown, by the way. I didn't say that. I wasn't really going over SmackDown, but there was a fake masked man. They took the mask off, and it was a nobody. Got involved in that Logan Paul and Jacob Fatu match. In this match, though, in the chamber, Logan Paul was rolling. He was eliminating everybody. Evans, Knight, then Trick Williams. And that's when the fun started, because the door was left open. And we get during the match, by the way, a masked man climbed on the cage. All that all that stuff. And again, they got him out immediately, took his mask off again. We're like, who is this guy? It was a nobody. So as the doors open, after Trick Williams got eliminated by Logan Paul, we see another masked man. Now he's in the chamber. And he gets, gets the super kick, curb stomp, stands there, and we're like, oh, this is about to happen now. Because it gets Logan Paul eliminated, and it is none other than Seth freaking Rollins. He is back to get revenge on the Vision. And I got more on that here in a minute, but right now I'm just going to keep going through the match. The door apparently is still open as they get Logan Paul out. And Drew McIntyre comes in, and what does he do? He hits Cody with the belt. And he's going to take him out. Ready for the Claymore. All those things going on. And this led to a frenzy of a finish. Which was the next swerve that I didn't see coming. That kind of like makes you think. And like we're not set for WrestleMania yet, I don't think. The frenzy was this. It was now Randy got involved. He's like, yo, Drew, you can't be coming in here messing with the match. So RKO to Drew. Randy's like, Cody, yeah, get him. Crossroads to Drew. And then right immediately, RKO to Cody. Randy Orton wins the Elimination Chamber. And again, the swerve that I don't know that most of us were thinking. Like, Randy Orton would actually win the match. Like, I give him credit. It was on the list, right? It was like, okay, who's in the match? I could see winning is Randy, LA Knight, Cody. So he was one of the three. But realistically, I was thinking Cody, obviously, because everything's been pointing that way. The swerve happened. Now, on the post show, Nick Aldis is angry. He's yelling, with Drew, talking about getting involved again. So now, don't matter. I guess it doesn't matter about the stipulation that clause in the contract that Cody could not challenge Drew for the title again while he was champion. Well, Aldis said, bump all that. Cody, Drew for the title on SmackDown. Now, what does this mean? We'll get into that later because it could go a lot of ways, for WrestleMania 42. All right, so other things that came out of the Elimination Chamber, the mysteries that are going on. We found out what's in the box, and obviously, as I mentioned earlier, we found out who's under the mask. Now, I think there's been multiple people under the mask. Was that a part of the storyline, or were they just using people to try to figure out how they were going to do this? Nobody knows. We don't know. So first I'm going to get to the box, and then we'll get to the mask. Again, we know who it was, but we'll get to it. I'll get to it. So there were rumors out there on who it could be. There's names that there was actually a person in the box. And if there was a person in the box, they had to be a certain type of person. They had to have a certain gimmick, a certain persona. I'm not going to sit here and say that I am an expert on this guy. I know he was in AEW. I know he's kind of quirky. He's got his own little weird, thing, gimmick. But that was one of the names. So we get Aldis and, him and Pierce out there with crowbars opening the crate. And they open it. It opens, and it's a wooden coffin. It opens and you get graphics and you get all these, vampire looking women. They just keep coming out. So obviously there's a hole in the back of the crate and all that, which is kind of goofy. It's got WWE written all over it. Wrestling, you never know. That's the part of it that you just laugh at. And like, of course they're just coming straight out of this coffin. And, of course, you get it. It is Danhausen. who was formerly in AEW, gets his debut. They get in the ring. They're doing all, it looks like a Broadway show. And they do their big finish, and all you hear are boos. The crowd in Chicago was not impressed. Again, he got a little pop when he came out. It was like, oh, it's Danhausen. Okay. But then it was just kind of like, nah, like this is it. Like I thought maybe he was going to have a match, but he just came, ta-da. Lights went out then, and they were gone, and everybody booed heavily for the reveal. I will say it is a little underwhelming that, now again, it was only a 2-week build-up. A little underwhelming, but I get it because of who it was. So I'm not mad at it. I thought maybe it would have more implications on what was going on in Elimination Chamber, but I will be honest, they could have done that on Raw or SmackDown. It was not, I don't think it was something like Danhausen, I don't think is that name that it's like, yeah, let's do this at a PLE, the one before WrestleMania, right? At Elimination Chamber. As I mentioned before, last year we had The Rock, wanting Cody's soul. Cena turns heel. You get Travis Scott. And this year we get a crate with the Danhausen. Not the same. But it was what it was. And I get it. The other thing, of course, that took place was that the Masked Man is finally revealed as Seth Rollins after, again, swerves with these imposters, fake guys. Now, what does this mean? And again, I'll get into that maybe here in a little bit with the WrestleMania stuff. But, does this mean that Logan Paul versus Seth Rollins? And does it matter? Like, they've already wrestled at WrestleMania before. And, like, does it matter, though? Because I guess I'm talking about it now, right? I'm not even going to wait. Yeah, so does it matter? Because it was supposed to be Braun Breaker, then he got hurt. Then I'm assuming it was supposed to be Bronson Reed. Then he got hurt. And now it's Logan Paul? A couple things don't make sense with this, by the way, though, because it was Braun who made the call to spear Seth and kick him out of the Vision. And then he gave the order for Bronson to tsunami Seth Rollins as they kick him out of the Vision. And they were the original members of the Vision. So Seth should have beef with Paul Heyman, of course, because he just sided with whoever was the alpha at the time. But, so if it's not Braun and it's not Bronson, just because Logan Paul's in the Vision, so we supposed to just think, oh, okay, Seth Rollins versus Logan Paul makes sense because he's after the Vision. Not really. Like I said, he wasn't even in the Vision at the time. And neither was Austin Theory, who, of course, was another masked man. The original masked man. Well, not even the original. Let's not even get into it. There's been many masked men in the last year that do the same. It was the same black hoodie and black mask. Everyone was glad to see Seth Rollins, by the way. He got a pop. Glad to see him back. Obviously, he's one of the top stars, so it was good to see him back. But then it was kind of like, but does it make sense? Because, Logan versus Seth? And I said this, right? I said, even if it is Seth, at this point, are we even excited? Who's left in the Vision? Even if it was Bronson, does that make you excited? Not really. At least it would make sense because he helped take him out. But like I said, Logan Paul, Austin Theory, I'm not excited about that. I don't know what they could do to make this match matter if that's the way they're going to go. You also have to know that how healthy is Seth? And I'm going to get into what's next for LA Knight. But LA Knight's got some issues with the Vision too. So maybe, I don't know. Like I said, what match is going to come out of this is going to be, can Logan and, Seth have a good match? Sure. But is that the match that really gives him his revenge? Not really. How long's Braun out? I don't know if he'll be at Mania. Is that another Swerve coming later? Possibly. If we get Braun Breaker, Seth Rollins, that makes sense. But, Logan Paul, not really making sense. But at the end, though, we get the box. The box and the mask are over. So hopefully there are no more black hoodies and masks, in 2026 or for a while. That was overused. But there is still one mystery that we do not know, and that is who attacked Jacob Fatu. And once again, what does that mean going to WrestleMania? All right, so the Elimination Chamber is over. The fallout has begun. And we got mysteries still to be solved, even though the mask is over, masked man. But who attacked Jacob Fatu? We talked about that. That's the next question. But all of this, what does this mean for Mania? And again, I just keep looking forward to WrestleMania 42 and what's going to come of, like Cody Drew at SmackDown. Like, what's going to happen there? It could be anything. We know Randy Orton's in the match. He won the chamber. So he's wrestling whoever is the champion. So does Cody beat Drew? And do we get Cody Orton? That is big match. That is WrestleMania. Again, big names is what WrestleMania is all about, especially in title matches. Do we get a triple threat? Something happen? We get Cody, Drew, Randy? Maybe. Do we get a fatal four-way? We get Drew, Cody, Randy, and Jacob Fatu. Then what about Sami Zayn? He's been involved in this too. But we get a five-way? Or do we get some of this, does it branch off? There's so many avenues this could go. And again, I'm going to keep just making this point. Mania has two big names for title matches. I understand again that Jacob Fatu is a rising star. Does he belong in the title match at WrestleMania is my question. Because he hasn't been in a title match ever at a PLE. So what's the angle here, right? So there's many ways this could go. Again, like at Mania, again, we got Punk, we got Roman, we got Rhea, even Jade, she is the champ. So like it, love it. Some people like it, some people don't. She's still a big name. She's still a star. Maybe not quite on the level of some of these names I'm mentioning, but still, you're still getting that Orton, Drew, or Cody, or Drew and Cody. All that makes sense. It all makes sense for WrestleMania. I will say, though, I don't want Drew and Cody involved in a regular match with Sami Zayn or Jacob Fatu. I guess if they're going to do the four-way, do the four-way. Not that I'm thrilled about that. I'd rather just see Cody, Randy, or something, something like that. Or even, again, a triple threat. Now, this leads me back to, who attacked Jacob Fatu. I think we have to find this out. And then I think that has to be his opponent at WrestleMania. Now, if it's Drew, then it's Drew. If it's Sammy, possibly. Who else could it be? Never know. But again, I think that's the way we have to go with Jacob Fatu, is find out who attacked him, and then we can talk about, his match at Mania. But there's all kinds of things that could come out of this. And, with 7 weeks left, now it'll be 6 weeks, I think, by SmackDown, right? And but that's a big match, and that could be, again, another swerve. And then you're like, oh, okay. Here I am thinking it's going to be Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, but then we give Cody another chance because, again, Drew keeps messing up everything. And he's kind of had it out for Cody. But this gets us to me, a better match and a match we haven't seen since Cody's been back as champ against Randy. Now, if you're asking if it turns out to be that, then don't ask me who's winning. I can't give you that. I'm not at the moment. I would have to really think about the direction, because it'd be kind of weird if Cody won the title and then lost the title. Or again so soon. He just lost to Drew, so it would make sense to me. It would make more sense if they do wrestle. It would make more sense to me. Cody beat Randy. Randy turned heel. Just makes sense. He's mad at Cody. I don't know. Early thoughts going through my mind. But again, Drew has messed with so many people. I already had put in my notes that I just feel more like the WWE title is going to be a multiple person match. Whether there's 3 people, 4, 5, hell, 6, who knows? You never know about what's going to happen with, who else could be involved. Because again, maybe none of these people attack Jacob Fatu, or maybe it's just, again, somebody we're not even thinking about. But that's what I got with the WWE title. Again, big matches. Just give me big names for those big title matches. That's what's going to help you sell tickets. Things we've never seen is definitely going to help. And when you talk about the main event of night 1, because again, night 2 is Punk Reigns. Put it in pin, put it in blood, chisel it in rock. That's the main event for night 2 of WrestleMania. Other matches that could happen in Mania that we see the fallout from. So Rhea Ripley is no longer a tag team or going to be involved, right? She's got her eyes set on the WWE title, women's title. So as for those women's tag titles, we have Lash Legend and Nia Jax are the new champs. And I still think that match at Mania has to be like some kind of tornado tag, fatal 4-way tag match. I don't know what else to, how to put that. But again, you got Charlotte, Alexa, Kabuki Warriors, Bayley, Lyra. Things, that would make sense to me. And now I'm going to backtrack because I just had a thought. I'm sorry. I'm all over the place on this just a little bit. But I did just have a thought. Back to that WWE title with whoever it is. Orton right now is in the match. And I mentioned multiple people. And I did have this thought because originally it was because if Drew was still champion and he keeps costing everybody, how do you make that not happen? How do you control that? And I think still maybe this could be a possibility, is that if it is a multiple person match, that you have it in Hell in a Cell. Just a thought. We've seen it before. We all know Rikishi falling off the cell. So I could see that happening. That way you control the chaos of Drew McIntyre. But again, if Cody beats Drew, then that's all gone up. Or if maybe on SmackDown, if Drew, cheats or does something, who knows, right? But again, multiple people, put it in Hell in a Cell. Why not? Sorry, I really had that thought and it slipped my mind. But yeah. Let's see what else. Question marks for a couple of people. Question marks for Io Sky. Again, where does that put her? Does she have anything now for WrestleMania? Her tag team partner, Rhea Ripley, is going for the title. I could see something after Mania with, like a Rhea, Io finally, again, going at it again. And eventually Rhea's got to beat Io. But again, what does that mean for Io Sky? She's just kind of left out now because she don't have a tag partner. Maybe they do go for the titles again. Who knows? I don't know. But I feel like she's just left out. What's next for LA Knight? Again, he was, second one eliminated out of the chamber. there's really no other path. He's had problems with the vision. Does he go after like the U.S. title again? Even though I could see like Trick Williams doing that. Is LA Knight the one who attacked Jacob Fatu? Again, that's where his name goes back into that multiple people for that WWE title. Or just, do we even care to what? We don't want to see LA Knight Fatu again. But, so I wouldn't think that was it. But again, he could be. Again, he's down on his luck. Does he answer Brock Lesnar's open challenge? Those are options for LA Knight. But he's got to be at Mania. It's just where at Mania does he fall? Another match again. Finn Balor, I believe, will turn face and face like Dominic Mysterio. Face. He will turn face and go against Dominic Mysterio for the Intercontinental Championship. Definitely could see that happening. We got to have a path for Dirty Dom and Finn and the Judgment Day. The battle for supremacy and for the IC title. Why not? Give us that. And as last, I'm going to just really hit on this Brock Lesnar open challenge real quick. At the moment, who could answer that challenge? Will we get it on one of these Monday Night Raws where he will show up? Are we going to get different people to come out? And then he'd be like, nope, not good enough. Will it just kind of be like multiple people until he says yes? And names that could answer that challenge that are actually on the roster is, like I mentioned, it could be LA Knight. Maybe it's Trick Williams. The name everybody wants, Obafemi. And then another name, which right now, unfortunately, he's involved for some reason with Dragon Lee. But Gunther could be that person to answer that challenge. We thought we were getting it last year. We did not. Or was it last year? The year before, right? Yeah, the year before. Yeah, a couple years ago. So we didn't get it due to legal reasons. But yeah, so I think I like Brock versus Oba. I like Brock versus Gunther. The only problem with Gunther is that Brock is kind of a heel right now, right? He's with Paul Heyman. He kind of mixes with the Vision. So Oba, the up-and-coming young star, everybody loves, everybody sees it. That's the one. That's what most say is the only correct answer. We shall see. But we got to find something else for Gunther because right now the Dragon Lee stuff is not working. I don't care what anybody says. I don't know how you go from this huge angle of you retired Goldberg, you retired John Cena, you retired AJ Styles, and now all of a sudden you're getting cost Elimination Chamber qualifying matches by Dragon Lee. Dragon Lee, hey, great wrestler, all these things you did. It was kind of good with you and AJ. It worked, right? Random tag teams sometimes just work. But, yeah, not at WrestleMania, which I know that won't happen at WrestleMania. But the fact that he even has to entertain this right now is crazy. So the quicker he can choke out Dragon Lee, the better. And we can get on to bigger, better things for Gunther at WrestleMania. So we shall see. And let's see. Well, that's another episode of Fanatically Speaking. You can listen to the show on any podcast outlet. It's everywhere, wherever podcast outlets are. You can even listen on YouTube. Also on all social media, or most of social media. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Follow the show. Keep up with what episode is, based on the picture and the title, all that fun stuff. And find out what the episode's about. Check it out. And let's see. Yeah, whatever device you listen to, I just, again, tap that app. Listen to the show. Wherever, however. That's all I need. Just listen and share. Tell someone. Phone a friend. Need more listeners. Need more people. Don't just tell me you see my post. Listen to the show. Tell others who like sports, wrestling. Occasionally, we did the Diddy doc. We did the movies. We do it all. Or now I do it all at the moment. So that's all. for this episode. And as for that, I am out.